Saying that when you're playing the victim. You're literally calling him out and telling him that, oh, this person raped me. No, I'm calling bullshit on you. I'm not bullying you. I'm calling bullshit because you're attacking my friend.
Oh, Panda. It is tea spilling day for Nion. See, I was willing to look past the first time you had an offense with the things that you said to my current girlfriend and the things that you said to another friend of mine who I'm pretty sure doesn't talk to you whatsoever anymore. There's a good reason for that. But I guess it's time for me to explain why I'm no longer part of the Blue Crew. Buckle up, because it's a big fucking story.
Saying that when you're playing the victim.
And what are the coincidences that one of the people I was just talking about in a previous video of mine happens to start shit with another? And anyone who follows my profile knows I don't do stuff like this often, which means it's about to get real. See, Panda Wubs, you're by no means a saint whatsoever. I'm gonna go ahead and give those screenshots real fast so people know it too. This was shit that he said to my girlfriend right as we started dating. And after I showed these messages to another fur, they openly admitted that he says some creepy shit to them too. There was actually more shit to be shown, not just from my girlfriend, but also from me and Jinx. Yes, both of us received weird messages from him like this, but what do you know, the Telegram chats got erased. And this isn't even half the reason why I decided to leave that group. There were people who were within the group who were genuinely confused by my leaving. Good people, for that matter. And the reason why they were so confused was because I didn't want to tell anybody the name of the person who pushed me away. The one that sent me over the edge and decided to leave this group. It wasn't worth it. And what are the coincidences that one of the people person for all of those members of the Blue Crew, if you're still curious to this day as to why I left, was the leader of the group, Pavlov Cadet. That's right, the one that claims to be in it for the people. That's right, the one who stood up within that group while I was still in it and said, who fucked with Nion? Who was talking shit behind his back? It was you, Pavy, and you knew it the entire time. The text to my girlfriend proved it too. You claim to be concerned about her well-being, but as far as I'm concerned, me and Jinx have done a hell of a lot more than you've done. See, I was one of the founders of the Blue Crew. Me along with like 12 other people or so. None of their names really matter to this current situation other than Pavy and Panda because I know they're going to back each other no matter what. But the ultimate point that I'm trying to get across is that the group is twisted. A hell of a lot more twisted than y'all think it is. And I'll probably lose followers for it too. I don't care. I started that group single-handedly, just so you know. So we're going to go all the way back to the roots of this story. During the GoFundMe campaign to save Nalu the catfish's eyesight. Person for all of those members. Oh, the hell of that GoFundMe campaign. Nobody, fucking nobody will ever know the true hell that I went through. And don't you worry, Nalu and Haffy, I'm not here to call you out. I'll be saving that for another day. You know exactly why we're not friends. The exact reason why no video on my profile ever relates to Nalu anymore. They're all gone. I still got the screenshots, I promise you. To cut things short, the GoFundMe campaign went off without hitch. $30,000 in 2 weeks. And all it costed me was 4 hours of sleep a day, a 10-hour job, and the moment I got home, all of my time and devotion put to that GoFundMe. That is when you know it's not for fucking clout. That's pure fucking altruism. That's trying to be selfless. You can't do that nowadays. Not without a catch, or at least everybody thought that. See, I was accused of stealing the money from the GoFundMe campaign, which didn't happen. I still have the screenshots to prove that too. And after being one of the founders of the Blue Crew, they decided to kick me out. All because of a mob mentality. Oh, the hell of that GoFundMe. I was left alone after I spent weeks of my devotion, time, and energy to that GoFundMe campaign. I was accused of shit that I didn't do and kicked out of a group that I helped start, that I helped get to where it is now because of nothing. And it wasn't until 2 months later that I was asked to come back to the group, and only by a select few amount of people for that matter. The other half of the Blue Crew wanted me on fucking trial. That's right, people who weren't there at the initial start of the GoFundMe campaign wanted to be part of this trial to allow me back into the group. I told them I didn't need to. I didn't need to be back in the group. Ultimately, it was settled that the original members were going to be the ones to have the say-so on whether or not I come back, and the majority was they would let me back. They wanted me back. And it was within that time span of coming back that Panda sent all of the messages that you saw previously on part 2, and the leader of the Blue Crew proved that she didn't like me to begin with. But I'll tell you what, if you still want to side with them, go ahead and ask them for the screenshots. See what they give you. I was left alone after I... But in the meantime, while you're asking your friends for screenshots that don't exist, let's go ahead and look at the ones that I have. Like the proof of the exact amount of money that was sent to Nalu the catfish. People questioned me for fucking days over why like $400 were missing from the goddamn pool. Even though I had to underline after fees. The goddamn site takes money. How about where Jakaris herself and another follower of mine had to stand up within the group to say that I deserved a second chance and still wouldn't be given another one until a month and a half after this shit was sent. And still I smiled. I smiled the entire time for a year. This happened way back in November. I carried this shit on my shoulders for a fucking year and no one knew. But you know now. Yeah, you do. Defend your friends if you want, if you're still part of the Blue Crew. But if you weren't there whenever this shit first happened to me, you've got no say in this. But for those of you who did have a direct influence on my mental state back then. But in the meantime, while you're asking your friends for... Yes! It feels so fucking good to get that off my shoulders. I hope you've enjoyed my content all the way up until this point. But it goes to show that a lot of us, a lot of your favorite content creators go through shit all the time. We really do. And we go to a lot of links to make sure that you don't have to deal with it as viewers. But in this scenario, you deserve to know. You deserve to know the truth about these people and who they are. And I'm sorry to you, Liquid Wolves, because you deserve better. Panda, Pavi, and the rest of the Blue Crew members who treated me like shit for doing absolutely nothing other than trying to save someone's eyesight, I hope you get what's coming to you. And I know it's gonna happen. Yes! It feels so...
It's like a group of people, an organized group of people that are like doing all this cool shit for other people in the community.
So I don't like taking these off too much because people point it out way too often, but if this doesn't look like the face of exhaustion to you, I'm not really sure what would. And to answer you, you're absolutely right. Shit went sideways. Shit went sideways super fast in that group. I had no reason to tell anybody about it because I forgave everyone. I gritted my teeth and I just forgave everyone after I had apologized for shit that I never did. And you know, that group did actually have something going for it. I mean, back whenever, you know, I was leading the charge of the GoFundMe campaign and stuff like that for Nalu, I had a plan. I had more than just one plan to do things for the community. And not just by donating, which is what the Blue Crew unfortunately turned into, which was giving money. They really did run that ship straight into a fucking iceberg, and they're going down with it. Slowly but surely. And there are more stories to tell. One day. Come on, Pavi. We both know I'm not that stupid. Did you really think I didn't have eyes and ears in the Blue Crew still? You're talking about the person who built the group that you're in right now, who gave it the name that it has. But what do I matter? See, under normal circumstances, you might be correct. You might be. Even with the original screenshots, which I will be showing here pretty soon, for people to decide for themselves on which one of us is lying, while you have nothing, and I know you don't. You would still probably be able to find a way to spin it into your favor and tell people that it's bullshit. If you didn't account for the fact that me and Nalu are making up. That's right. She admitted to everything that happened. That's where you fucked up. Are you ready to go down with the group that you stole from me? The story that's about to be told, it's a long one. And it's a pretty fucking dark one for me. I'll be showing screenshots, plenty of them. And under no circumstances, my only stipulation is that you do not go after Nalu or Gray / Happy. They were the first ones to accuse me. It started out with questions, mostly from Gray at the time, and it very quickly spiraled out of control from that point onward. They saw me as skeptical, and who in their right mind wouldn't? I was a single person who had 4,000 followers at the time, trying to raise 10,000. I said 30,000 in one video, I don't know why. I was just thinking 30, but to raise $10,000 for someone I didn't know. And to them, there was always a catch. So let me get to the screenshots. The story that's about to be told. I said things spiraled out of control. That was no understatement. Both Nalu and Gray jumped the gun prematurely and tweeted about me before asking questions. Although Gray was way smarter in being vague in their tweets. Nalu was quick to remove hers, which was also smart. There would be people quick to say, well, they never said my name, so it wasn't about me, except Gray did admit that the topics were similar to what we were talking about the day before, indicating that it was about me. There were even points where I brought it up to Nalu herself, and she was quick to say, of course, that Gray didn't point me out directly, didn't say my name. I was attacked so much by both of their followers combined that I even resorted to begging Nalu just to tell her followers to ease up on me. Gray wanted nothing to do with me. They just simply didn't like me. And I can't do anything about that. I said things spiraled out of control. Now, you called me a liar in the Blue Crew, Pavi. You did. Except, you didn't account for me talking to Nalu. She came to me. Whether out of fear or guilt, she came to me last night, wanting to avoid the past and everything that she had taken part in. But this was no new drama. It was simply drama that you, Pavi, and Nalu and Gray simply didn't want to acknowledge, but I had to deal with it for a year. Except she's willing to redeem herself. You're not. That's the difference between you and her. You can very clearly see the cold and calculated person I am whenever I'm put into situations like this. I knew Nalu had been warned, either by the Blue Crew or by someone else, and it made her apology initially seem very sketchy. Except I've been talking to her continuously, and she very clearly wants to make things right. Now, you called me a liar in the Blue Crew, Pavi. You did. Except, you didn't account for me talking. You called me a liar, Pavi. But what happens when the Blue Crew sees the rest of these messages? What happens when the screenshots go public? What happens when they realize that you can't provide any proof against me like you say you can? I've already promised Nalu that anyone who wants to go talk to her should also speak to me. I won't be throwing her aside like everybody else threw me aside a year ago. I'll be making sure that everybody realizes that just like anyone else, we're fucking human. We can make mistakes. Nalu, just because of the status that she has, doesn't mean that she's a god. She made a mistake. Gray too. Big fucking deal. But at least Nalu wanted to fix that. You, however, Pavi, are a fucking liar. See, that's the difference between me and you. I'm honest. And you're just a different breed of ignorant. You called me a liar. I'll be waiting for your response, though. Your next move. Or you can keep it to the private chats, like you have been, claiming that I'm a liar when I'm very open about the person that I am. Or alternatively, you can do something that you should have done a long time ago. Shut your mouth and call it checkmate. You lost. I'll be waiting for your response, though. How would you react? Given the circumstances that I'm put in. You know, if I'm made out to be this monster that did something that I never did, what would you do? What would you do in my situation? When I took down Darkshy Knight, I can still link you the video, by the way, to the girl, the 15-year-old that he exposed himself to, and her thanking me, my wife, and my ex-girlfriend at the time, since we all put in some work to take him down. But I was the one that went after him and spoke to multiple people within a Zoom call to make sure that he got taken down. One of his very good friends, Smokey Woods Boy, I don't know if they changed their name ever since then, but it was Smokey Woods Boy, about 80,000 followers or so, swore up and down, and I remember the conversation, he swore up and down that Darkshy Knight was not that kind of person. He couldn't be. He absolutely could not do those things. And it wasn't until I showed undeniable proof of texts he had sent and his voice saying that he was sorry for the things that he had done that Smokey finally started crying and realized that they were wrong. Since then, to my knowledge, Smokey does no longer endorse or support Darkshine Knight for the person that he is. But the question still remains is, can you be one of those people? You know, I'm looked at a lot of the time by Pavi specifically. I know Gray doesn't think about me, and I don't think about Gray. But Pavi has this huge vendetta against me for some reason. And you asked me to lay off. But how is that justified? I'm not asking anyone to attack Pavi whatsoever. I'm asking for the truth. You've come to the position that you're in now. And I very, very much want to hope with everything in me that it didn't come from tearing people down. I don't want to believe that you tore people down to get to the position that you're in right now. And I can't see you being that kind of person. I want to hope that there's always people out there that can do better for this fandom, as opposed to adding more to the toxicity. People who aren't too quick to jump to the conclusions that they come to whenever you have a singular role model who just has far more followers, saying like, oh, no, they're a liar. They did this, even though there is no proof or evidence of any of that. And now the screenshots of the things that you've said, you coming to me and apologizing for everything that happened, they do undeniably prove that they did happen, which means that Pavi did lie. You, even if you didn't mean to, you inadvertently called out her lie. I've said it before, Nalu. You may not like me. You might not. I'm a very critical thinker. I make sure to word the things I say very carefully and process them before I even say them. But I can't imagine why anyone could support or do the things that they do for people like Pavi. You called her a friend, but I never asked you, like, what kind of friend? How close are you as people? What has Pavi done for you? And why was she given that opportunity where I wasn't? Why was I put in the situation that I'm still in to this day, when it can literally come down to a single video made by you saying Nion didn't lie? And that would be the end of this. That would be the end of this conversation. That would be the end of this topic, not just for now, but for all time. I can't imagine what I did to deserve everything that happened to me. And you might realize that I'm not crying, and I refuse to. And that's because I've been bottling tears for some years now. I keep myself composed very much, and I don't know, maybe that's why my body is destroying itself internally. Who knows? I just think it's insane. It's crazy to think that I have a voice message from you asking me not to go public. You asked me to not talk about these things. You specifically said the words, "show mercy." But can you do the same? Is it right of a person to ask for that and then not be able to do the same? I'd like to know where I went wrong. I'd like to know if it was wrong of me to be the one to stand up and think, you know what, maybe we can help this person. Maybe instead of in the comments just saying, I'm praying for you or I'm sending good vibes. Was I wrong to stand up and say, no, we can physically do something? As a conglomeration, as a group of people, this fandom can physically help. Was I wrong for that? And to me, was it worth the trade-off for being treated the way that I am today? And what do you want to believe, Pixie? What do you want to believe exactly? A lot of people come to me and like to ask me questions or accuse me of things that I've never done. People always ask me for the proof, and I can provide it. I can give you, I can physically hand you the screenshots, the voice recordings, everything. And oddly enough, no one ever goes to Haffy, Nalu, or Pavi to ask them, like, hey, what's your side of the story? Because they can't provide proof. There is no evidence whatsoever other than the words, he's lying. But this is how a jury of my peers works. This is how social media works. Is instead of innocent until proven guilty, you are guilty until proven innocent, and I physically cannot do that. I'm not given the ability to do that. Anyone who wants the screenshots can easily ask for them. Anyone can. But that doesn't mean that everyone will listen. Some people like to have others think for them, or let personal relationships get in the way. I am an unbiased person, and I believe that the truth will get out there. And what do you want to believe, Pixie? What do you want to believe exactly? Here are the tweets from the friend you know so much. She was smart enough to keep them as vague as possible, while Nalu posted, the GoFundMe users seem sketchy, but she was also very quick to take that one down, so smart on her. I even asked Haffy about this, and she did confirm that it did have to do with what we discussed before, indicating that it did have to do with me. It got to a point where she would send nothing but voicemails, so I could no longer screenshot. There is nothing in my text whatsoever that comes off as aggressive. I even asked her how I could fix this, because I would rather build bridges than burn them. It wasn't until after the money was sent and I was kicked out that Dracarys and another follower of mine stood up within the group and told everyone that I didn't deserve it and needed a second chance. Dracarys was even kind enough to point out the fact that I helped her outside of the public eye, so thank you for that, Dracarys. Ask for more screenshots if you want, I don't care. It doesn't mean you'll listen. That's how popularity rules. Here are the tweets from the friend you know so much. Also, excuse the fuck out of me. I want you to go through any of my videos, like every single fucking video you possibly can, through my profile, before like the past 3 days, and you tell me where I have ever called anyone out, that I've ever accused anyone of doing anything other than recently. And they're not just accusations, I can provide proof of that shit. I have provided proof of that shit, and somehow, in some fucking way, it's amazing. There are people who can still look at that and be like, this is still a little suspicious, yet they hear silence from the other side. There is no proof whatsoever. There are 0 screenshots, and somehow, I'm still the fucking bad guy. What the fuck? Man, I mean, that's how popularity rules, man. Also, excuse the fuck out. That job was left up to Pavlov Cabot. I think that's the issue with that, is that I'm being asked repeatedly, hey, show this proof, like, show this proof. Like, what the fuck have they said? What have they said? Why haven't they come public with anything? Why is none of this said whatsoever? I have voice messages from Nalu apologizing about all this shit that happened. If you want me to play those, I can do that too. But, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm slowly realizing that I mean, your profile says it all. It really does. The 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers, you guys like to click together. That's what you do. You're a family. I go by proof. That's it. If you don't like me, just say it. You're allowed to not like me. You can just do that, and that's okay. But you are not allowed to tell me that something didn't happen when I have nothing but evidence that it did. Especially when they refuse to show anything or talk about it publicly. That job was left up. Oh, now they're finishing the video. It only took 2 days. I mean, shit, I had all my stuff on standby. It was ready. I'm waiting to hear my voice, what I've had to say, you know? Like all the bad shit that has come from me, all the screenshots that have come from me, that no one has. It'll go one of 2 ways, no matter what. Either they will come public with everything that happened, admit to a mistake. Seriously, it's that easy. I can literally be like, you know what? All's forgiven. You admitted to this shit. You admitted that it's real. Let's go on. Let's move on. Or deny it. Deny it, and this shit continues. Because there's no reason for me to back down. There's absolutely no reason for me to back down. I'm gonna put my foot down now. Of course I'm angry. I didn't do shit. And I've never been this person on my profile until now. I'm gonna be canceled for saving someone's eyesight. Oh, now they're finishing. I think the biggest question that I keep asking myself over my most recent videos, of course, is what was there to gain? You know? Like what would I have to gain from lying? I started the GoFundMe, and once we started reaching the end goals, I was starting to be accused as being sketchy. The tweets prove that shit. My question is, why would I lie about that? Of course, the obvious answer from a lot of people is, well, clout. No, you're doing it for clout. See, the issue with that statement is that I get less views and less likes over this dramatic shit versus my comedy, which is what I specialize in. So the question is that if I wanted clout, why wouldn't I just stick to doing my comedy? That's the part where 2 and 2 just don't add up. I don't know what the fuck y'all are thinking. I don't know, maybe I'm the idiot here for thinking, like, that doesn't make sense. This fandom is a goddamn cancer. I think the biggest question that I keep... You're right. You know, after I was the one that stood up in the crowd of the thousands of people who were saying, oh, we're sending you good vibes, we're praying for you. I was the one who said, wait a minute, we can do something physical. Like, we can actually help, and created the GoFundMe. I was the one that, after doing all of that, I apologize if my lips look a little bloody. I bite them when I'm anxious. I did all that. Brought the fandom, like, crazy close together, closer than I had ever seen on TikTok before. And I planned out this, I had this villainous act in my head where where I wanted to spin this story to make Nalu look like a bad person. Come on, man. You're telling me I have lack of evidence, but there is nothing posted from them whatsoever. Some people have brains, and some people, well... No, I wouldn't say that I'm manipulating your words to make me look more malicious as a person or anything. It's me being a smartass. Because that's what I do. Like, if you took the time to check my profile previously, before the past 2 or 3 days, like before any of this actual drama happened, you would notice that I'm not this kind of person. That a lot of my stuff has to dwell, like it deals with comedy. And that's because comedy is my cope. That's how I deal with stuff. You don't know me. That's the unfortunate part, Pixie, is that you don't know me. But you do know Nalu, and that's why you're siding with her. It's like I said, and I've said it before, like there are plenty of popular furs, 100,000, 200,000 and higher furs who do not like me. And that's because you guys stick together. You're a family. You do what you gotta do to hold each other together. That's just not who I am, though. I go by evidence, I go by proof. And in between all that, I try to make a joke every now and then so I can keep on living without going insane. No, I wouldn't say that I'm manipulating. Don't worry, with the heart issues that I've had ever since birth, I never really planned to get that far in life. No, I planned to live it as well as I could and do right by people within this fandom who helped me out of an insanely dark place. Again, of something that you wouldn't know because you don't know me. I've never done call-outs before or anything like that. So, I mean, the question is, why do it now? Like, what would I have to gain? Unless for some reason I wasn't lying. Maybe take that into consideration. And, like, just bear with me here. If it happens that they come forward, they come public, and they're like, hey, look, this did actually happen. We fucked up. Guess what? That's the end of it. That's the end. I can still look at people and be like, oh, it's forgiven. Fuck it. Whatever. I'll move on. But I'm not going to deal with the denial of it happening. Don't worry. Also, actually, so here's the thing. I want to react to this completely separate comment within that past video. You're right. You are absolutely right in that regard right there. I would 100% stand up and be like, whoa, hold up. What's going on here? But I'm also the kind of person that would be like, well, maybe we should go to a public chat. Maybe, like, you know, I should see all these screenshots of voice messages, stuff like that, which no one has done. Imagine that. Imagine that for 1 second if we got together with like 30 people, okay? Between me, you, Nalu, Pavi, Gray, like, and some other people, like, between just, hopefully outside of the fandom, for that matter, so they're completely non-biased. And I was able to plead my case then. Then it goes from trying to take care of your friend to actually listening to the evidence and stuff like that someone has. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Also, actually, so here's the thing. You know what? In that small interaction right there, that one, I've already changed my mind about you. But the problem is that Panda is also still small time. I am still small time. And I know damn good and well that the bigger furs, they do stick together. That is a fact, because I have friends who are bigger furs that come to me and tell me shit. But it does show me that you have the ability to actually want to sit down and learn, and I've never had a reason to lie to anybody before. Never. I mean, you can... Man. Of course you can't just take my word for it. I'm not asking you to just take my word for it. Again, I do wholeheartedly believe that having, like, a public chat for this to be talked about would be probably the smartest thing to do. God damn it, I want to stop making videos, and see, here's the thing, is that this video is to my wife, and I know you're in the room, like, you can probably hear me for that matter. And this is how you know I'm not bullshitting. Jinx, your opinion doesn't matter. You're biased. And you being my wife doesn't mean a damn thing. I know I sound like an asshole for saying that, but this is the truth in me. Like, this is how unbiased I am, is that I can't have you defend me. Don't. I mean, I know everything in you wants to defend me, but you can't. I love you to death, I really do. But it's not your battle, it's mine. And it's up to people to actually read and listen to and make their own judgment on what happens to me, I guess. God damn it. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. There are those people I have forwarded every single screenshot, every single voice message, stuff like that, and even though they don't want to get involved, which I understand, I totally get that, they have messaged me, and no, I'm not going to throw your names under the bus because, I mean, you're on TikTok too. They've told me I've got my shit. Like, the evidence is there. Clearly, I've done nothing. But at the same time, what comes with that is this sort of blanket response, which is, don't acknowledge it. It's sort of like, the base form of what's being said is, even though it happened, just let it go. And that's fucked up. Even though there's nothing but silence on the other people's side, and they can't defend themselves, I'm told to be the one to deal with it. Again, a second time. Okay. Then I guess I'm done here.
I'm trying to apologize. I'm trying to leave the past behind us. And I know, I'm sorry that people came after you. I really am. I'm just trying to make amends. I'm sorry that I couldn't do things right, and I'm sorry. I can fucking make posts about it now.
You can fake a lot of things, Pabby. You can. You can probably even fake screenshots that took you 3 days to get prepared, and even then they won't be released until the 4th day, which, I mean, admittedly, it's a little strange. But you can't fake Nalu's voice admitting that people came after me. Telling me sorry privately, telling me that she would make posts about it now, but she didn't.
I'm trying to apologize.
I'd like to think that I'd go out on my own terms. I'm sure you have a lot of people asking right now, well, I mean, she apologized. She apologized to you, so what's the big deal? And the big deal is that it's still happening. There is no acknowledgement publicly that this happened to me. Pavy is still lying about me to a group that they have no idea. These are people who just listen to every word she hangs off of. And that shit ain't cool. No, I think I'd like to do a little battle with this hierarchy. If I'm gonna go down, which it's it seems inevitable, then I'm gonna get my best shots in. Some of you might be content with running this popularity race. I'm not. Never really liked the idea of it. You know, modern social media where anybody who has a decent number of followers can just say, hey, this person did this, and then all of a sudden, it's fact. That's fucking twisted. I'd like to think that I'd go out on my own terms. I'm sure you have. Nalu didn't come to me about the events that took place over a year ago. Until recently, because her name was brought up. That's not just me saying that, that's a fact, and she admits to it. In these few screenshots, I am very skeptical about her just coming back into my life. And she was quick to admit that someone did tell her that I brought up her name. She claimed to also have the events of the past on her mind for some months now, and that it's been eating away at her in guilt, and I do have those messages as well. Of course, no one cares. But it's awfully convenient that she didn't show up until a couple of days ago, the day after I said her name. That's not a coincidence, and that's not guilt eating away at her. That's her trying to cover her ass. And if you can't put that 2 and 2 together, there's something wrong with you. You don't go to someone and apologize for something that you didn't do. I don't know why I'm explaining this. To be honest with you, I don't. The popular furs don't care. Nalu didn't come to me, so here I am. A singular person among the small army of the popular furs, Pavy, Nalu, whoever else. And I am told to plead my case no matter how much it doesn't matter to them. And to the friends of mine who saw the evidence, who absolutely agreed with me and still had the nerve to tell me to let it go, to tell me to pretend that it didn't happen. I wouldn't call you a friend. It shows your fear over these people and their popularity. And that's the shitty part, is that I know that there are people within that circle too. There are people up there that are crazy big furs that are even afraid of their own friends. No fandom should be run like this. You should never have to keep turning your head wondering who you can trust. So here I am. A singular person. I am actively encouraging the unfollowing of my profile page. Because I can't see myself ever being like them. I don't want to be like them. If that's what it comes down to, if it always comes down to just, we gotta protect each other and our status, we have so many followers, we're family. Nah. Even family can do bad. I'm sure there are plenty of people who know that. And I saw your comment, by the way, Patty, on my part 1. Be patient, that you have the screenshots and stuff. I just need to be patient, I guess. But it won't matter, because you'll be fighting a ghost. And by that I mean, I won't be here anymore. I won't just be taking a break from TikTok, I'll be uninstalling the app. So any notifications after this point just won't matter. I'll just have to let people think for themselves while you think for them and tell them that I'm lying. I am actively encouraging the unfollowing of